Cloakers are probably Payday 2's most iconic enemy. Outside of maybe the sight of Dallas's mask, I'm not sure there is anything more Payday 2 than this sound. So, you know them, you love them or hate them, and they have been a persistent threat to you since 2014. But how much do you actually know about how they work? Joining my How Does Payday 2 Work series, today we're going to deep dive into the inner machinations of the Cloakers' twisted minds. But first, if you want to feel the full force of police brutality at a buttery smooth frame rate, why not try out my Payday 2 branded PCs from the guys over at Apex? Ranging from the hardcore heister to king amongst thieves, they are not only going to give you the best Payday 2 playing experience out there, but also prepare you for Payday 3's launch. Check them out from the link below and remember the code Kknowley for 5% off your purchase. Back onto the Cloakers, originally known as Spooks. These guys used to crash the goddamn game in early beta, their kicks were so powerful. So how does their AI scripting actually work, and what dictates how and where they spawn in? First of all, only 2 Cloakers can spawn at a time unless scripted otherwise. I'm sure you're all well aware of the sound that plays to announce their arrival on the map, as well as their strange movement patterns once there. But did you know that these guys are actually split into 2 different categories? First, there are the Assault Cloakers who spawn with normal waves. These guys will seek you out specifically and count as part of the map-wide spawn cap. The second type is the Hiding Cloaker. These guys spawn during a specific pre-assault period, being replaced once killed between every 20 to 40 seconds on overkill difficulty and up. Instead of seeking you out immediately, they'll find a comfy corner to hide in and then ambush whenever you get close. Once spawned in and combat alert, how the Cloaker AI decides to go about its business will be dependent on a number of factors. They really have 3 combat options. One is to start their notorious charge, the other melee option is to go for a jump kick attack, and third, if neither is possible, they'll shoot the player with their Combat 5. So what dictates their decision making? Well, as you can imagine, they're desperate to go for their famous sprint attack. That means, if they're within 25 meters of the heister or 15 if searching for cover, they'll always consider charging first. You'll know it's coming when you hear this and see their goggles glowing. As much as they'd like to, Cloakers will not always be able to sprint. If there's an obstacle of any sort, big or small, in between you and the Cloaker, or if you're more than 2 meters vertically from their starting position, then they will choose a different approach. Their next best option is to jump at you. This requires that they are no more than 6 meters away from the heister, and that both parties have a direct line of sight to a chosen point in between the two that makes up their kicking arc. The jump attack has no real tell to it, but can be dodged if you time a strafe with the kick. Both takedown attacks will leave you in the incapacitated state if they land and begin your countdown to custody, but will not count as permanent downs once revived. Also keep in mind that Cloakers tend to release smoke bombs after landing a takedown to make the revive that bit harder. They're also programmed to drop these after taking non-fatal damage to cover their repositioning. This is why it's really ideal to take them out in one hit. If neither melee option is a possibility due to the terrain, the Cloaker will look to reposition to make it a possibility. However, there are situations where melee attacks are deemed impossible for the Cloaker, which is why they bring along their third choice approach, the SMG. More specifically, they cannot attempt melee takedowns when it is on internal cooldown due to being used recently, if their target is otherwise incapacitated, or if their entire team is afflicted with a status of some sort, ranging from tased to downed to in custody. This is why when you play solo with no AI, Cloakers will never attempt to take you down. However, this will not prevent them from executing a charge if they're already doing one, meaning it's still possible for Cloakers to end heists single-handedly if you get unfortunate with the timing. If they are forced to shoot their gun though, this is where they'll be at their weakest. The Combat 5s they wield seem to deal anywhere between 22 and 68 damage per shot, depending on their proximity on death sentence difficulty, which is really comparatively low, so they're no big deal on solo runs. Now we know how our enemy is thinking, let's talk about how to take them down and even use them to our advantage. There is one obvious solution to Cloakers: shoot them. Yeah, it's that simple. Shoot them in the head. They have the highest headshot multipliers in the game at 9 times on Death Wish and Death Sentence, which means many weapons offer close to a one-shot kill if you land that shot. Even with their comparatively high health pools extending to 3600 on Death Wish and above, they'll still go down faster than other specials if you're a crack shot. If you're not great at aiming for those heads, consider using critical skills such as low blow, as they'll also give you an equivalent headshot multiplier for hits landed anywhere. If non-lethal options are what you're after, you can try stunning cloakers with shock weaponry or preventing their charges using fire damage, even though they don't have a burning animation. Remember, ECM feedback won't work for you here. If all else fails, there is one skill specifically designed to stop cloakers in their tracks: Counter-Strike. When aced, this skill allows you to counterattack cloaker charges and kicks whenever you're charging your melee weapon. It knocks them down and incapacitates them for a few seconds, meaning it's an easy cleanup from there, although I've always felt that this skill is not powerful enough to warrant a 9 skill point investment, and of course, whilst you're charging, you can't just be shooting at them. Outside of killing them though, keeping cover between you and a cloaker of any sort can keep you safe from their most lethal attacks. Staying on the move towards or adjacent to them, or jumping over cover, can also enable you to dodge those less telegraphed jump attacks. As long-range combat units, cloakers are actually fairly weak, so keeping them at arm's length is also worthwhile whenever you can. It's additionally worth mentioning that cloakers can be useful if you run Berserker Aced and don't want to have to reduce your own health bar. On higher difficulties, once down by a cloaker, you will be revived with only 20% HP, giving you 1.8 times damage with your ranged weapons without costing you a down. How cooperative of them. And that does it for the infamous Cloaker. As ever, there's quite a bit of coding behind the scenes that goes into their decision making process, and a more thorough understanding of that has given me a tangible advantage when applied to my gameplay. Just like the other Payday mechanic deep dives, much of this was sourced from the wonderful Long Guide, which is the Payday Bible worth visiting when unsure of any game mechanics. Take what you've learned today out on your future heists, and I'm sure you'll be bisecting your way through Cloakers Jiro style in no time at all.
I got your DLC right here!
As ever, thank you very much to my Mean Infamy patrons and above. If you want to join that infamous club to see yourself in the credits or get early exclusive access to my videos, including the story videos, check out my Patreon link below. Remember the Discord is open to all if you crave some more Payday discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you all very soon for the next one.